quite a good registration.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We'll give folks a few seconds to trickle in and grab some water or a pen and notepad or whatever they feel you might need. And then we'll get started in just a second. Good. One sec, sorry, I haven't seen. Okay, hello everyone and good morning. Happy Small Business Week and welcome to our first event of the week. We're super excited to celebrate all the amazing businesses, small businesses here in Halifax and abroad. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. My name is Josh Creighton, the Corporate Partnership Specialist here with the Halifax Chamber of Commerce and your host for this morning. The Chamber represents more than 1,800 members and 85% of those members are small businesses. A common concern for businesses is securing funding for training, salaries, and many other needs. Luckily, our province has a robust funding department, the Department of Labor, Skills, and Immigration, or LSI for short. Today, we're joined by LSI to talk to us about funding supports available, how they can help your business, and how easy it is to apply. Again, thank you to everyone who submitted questions for today, to the presenters. When we get to the Q&A portion, feel free to type any other questions that pop up in your mind in the Q&A chat box. And today we'll have the presenters of the webinar, Vanessa and Rohini from LSI. So thank you so much for joining us today. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to you, lovely folks.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to get started. I'm just going to pop my slides on the screen. Okay. And I will start by, can everyone hear me? I'll assume you'll put something in the chat if you can't hear me. So my name is Vanessa Margaret, and I'm the manager of workplace education and training with Labor, Skills, and Immigration, the Skills and Learning branch. And today I'm going to talk to you about not only the training that we deliver, but as well as some other initiatives of the division I work with, which is Workplace Initiatives. I will start by saying I'm in the office and my computer freezes a lot. So when I freeze, I will stop talking, and I assure you I'll start up where I let off. So let's get started. Okay, so as I mentioned, I work with the Workplace Initiatives Division with Labor, Skills, and Immigration. And basically, Workplace Initiatives is everything workforce planning, development, and training. So my colleagues, there's a sector initiatives division, as well as the workplace education and training, but we work very closely and collectively to make sure that we're providing employers what they need. And as they try and grow their businesses, they look for HR supports, attraction, retention, and then participation. So this is a nice little depiction of sort of what our division does at a glance. And I'll speak very, very briefly to some of the other work. I'm going to focus in today on the training supports that we have. But we have over here on the left, the One Journey Work and Learn program. And this is where we're trying to attach more folks to the workforce. And basically the One Journey Work and Learn responds to employer identified skill shortages by supporting job ready employers to participate in customized skill development training. So basically it provides training supports to these individuals so that when they enter the workplace, they're far more prepared to participate and be active members of the team. Job Bank, as many of you are familiar with, is also run through our division, and it's basically a federally funded program for employers and job seekers, and to make those connection points. I'm going to talk a little bit more in a few slides on the Skills Online NS, the Workplace Education Initiative, and the Workplace Innovation and Productivity Skills Incentive. I will mention as well that we have a sector council program. So we fund 14 sectors across the province. And that's basically our support is to increase HR capacity in the areas of workforce planning, attraction, retention, and training. And it's all through the sector council. So we have a very, very broad reach. And it's a great program to help ensure that there's equity across the sectors in terms of these types of supports. So I'm going to start by speaking a little bit about Workplace Education Initiative. So the Workplace Education Initiative has been around for approximately 33 years. Interestingly, in the beginning, it was more about helping participants in reading, writing, and math so that they could challenge their GED. That has evolved as the participants and business needs have evolved. And so it's a federally funded program. So we do focus on the skills for success. It used to be the 9 essential skills, but it's evolved to basically respond to the needs of our Nova Scotia businesses. So we have a lot of training programs. They're highly customized for the individual businesses. And they are 10 weeks in length, 4 hours per week. And our measurement of success with this program is that as adults, we learn by doing. And so folks can learn what they learn in the classroom, bring it back to their workplace, and then discuss any sort of challenges they may have had in implementing these new skills. And basically, week by week, you build on that. So we have a variety of programs. Oh, sorry, I jumped ahead there. I will mention as well that part of the evolution of the program was once in the earlier days, it was more individual businesses. So a workplace education and training coordinator would go into an individual business and they would do a needs assessment of the business to determine where their training needs were. And then they would support the training within that individual business. Because our programs are 8 to 12 participants, that doesn't necessarily work for some small businesses in Nova Scotia, which we are like 90% small businesses. So about 15 years ago, they developed this new model where we have partnerships with organizations like Chambers of Commerce and other business organizations. They run programs on the behalf of their business community, and then individual participants from smaller businesses can attend these programs. So we have a wide selection of programs, and this actually, I've just recently updated our website. So if you visit our website, you can go on and all the programs are hyperlinked to the standardized framework. We wanted to make sure when we went online as a result of COVID, that we were being very consistent across the province, so that if somebody's taking a program in Cape Breton, and then they go to Yarmouth to take it, like for example, let's use a level 1, level 2 program. I've taken Excel in Cape Breton and now I go to Yarmouth. I can make sure that I'm developing new skills and there's not overlap. So we have all those frameworks are up on the website. If we talk about standard topics, the learning outcomes, as well as there's a nice little blurb about, sort of what the program is captured in a nutshell. But you can see there's a wide variety of programs, anywhere from financial management, communications, sales and marketing, presentation skills, lots of great business skills program development. So the other program that I manage for the province is the Workplace Innovation and Productivity Skills Incentive. And basically the Workplace Innovation Project, we'll call it WIPSI because that's what it's better known as. WIPC is grant supporting organizations to increase their capacity and new skills within their organization. So generally it deals with some great examples would be continuous improvement projects or Lean Six Sigma, or if somebody's implementing a new piece of software or a new piece of equipment, we would provide training support so that they can train staff on that new piece of equipment. WIPC has historically, I'm not sure, I think WIPC has been around for 11 or 12 years. And it was the reason that program came to be was because of the capital investment fund. So we had a fund at one time that would support the procurement of new equipment, and then WIPC could provide the training supports. We've also seen quite an evolution in the types of businesses that are applying for this training. So we're currently actually undergoing, we call it WIPC 2.0. We're undergoing a review to see how we can look at the program to better support Nova Scotia business. And in saying that, what I would ask you as well is if you have, and we're continuously improving our programs and our response to business. So if you have anything you want to pop in the chat in terms of training supports that your business is really struggling with, or challenges you've had with undertaking training exercises, please, and that will go a long way in helping us to improve programs. But WIPC, so you'll see from this list: increase innovation, introduce new technology, introduce new work process, expand to new markets. WIPC is very much aligned with exporting programs. But again, because we've seen most of the businesses that apply to us, in fact, over 80% are small businesses as well. So we are looking to see how we can improve that. So stay tuned. So currently, and this is all on our website as well. Look, businesses obviously have to be, both of the training programs that I manage are for working Nova Scotians. With WIPC, they have to be generating revenue, and then there's some participant requirements as well. And finally, another training initiative that we have support in Nova Scotia, which is fantastic, is Skills Online NS. And basically it's free online training. I have a training catalog I can share. I'm not sure if I can pop it into the chat, but there's a lot of different, primarily business skills, but there's also things like cybersecurity, like many different courses that businesses are looking for. I will say, I made a couple of notes here with regards to Skills Online NS. Some of the biggest uptake we see with Skills Online NS would be in areas of WMS, communication skills, HR supports. They're generally shorter courses. So for Skills Online NS, someone might be inclined to take a financial management course and discover that, I need a little bit more support, and then I think I'd like to take a 10-week program. Then we have other offerings through the Workplace Education Initiative. But it is a great way for businesses. You can create networks, and you can have your employee, you can assign courses that you want your employees to take. And we do get a lot of uptake. There's probably, anywhere from, 200 to 1,000 new registrants per month. So it's been very popular. It's been around for a while. And it's a great resource for employers and their employees. And that is it for the training supports. I ask you, please, if you have any questions for me, ask anytime. And there's my contact information. So if you see something that interests you, I will also add, one of the things that we're doing with the Workplace Education Initiative is we're going to be putting up on the website basically an expression of interest. So if folks look at the program offerings that we have, they can actually sort of pre-sign up, and then once we have 8 to 12 participants, we can run programs that way as well. If, unlike you folks that are here today, folks aren't attached to an organization, or they don't otherwise know how to access programs. So we're trying to improve access as well. So thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, you can ask. Maybe if you want, some of you want to save them till the end, but I'm happy to answer at any time. Thanks again.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Vanessa, for talking about the training supports that LSI has. Everybody, I'll just remind everybody that I'm Rohini Mangla, and I work with the youth employment programs at the same office as Vanessa does. So we both work for the Skills and Learning branch at the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration. We all acknowledge that the pandemic wasn't kind to anybody, and it was most unkind to businesses across Nova Scotia, and small businesses felt the pinch more than anybody else. And after the pandemic, business is growing. Nova Scotia is growing. We can see it on a regular basis. We can feel it in ourselves. But now the buzz is that there's a labor shortage. We are all struggling. I go to a lot of job fairs in my role, and everywhere I can see employers out there to woo employees, that are you looking for work? Would you like to join my team? But we say that there's a labor shortage, but are you making sure of two things? A, are you overlooking some of the talent pools? B, are you overlooking the support that is available to you as a small business? So today I'm here to talk about both of these things and how maybe we can help you solve that problem of labor shortage, and how LSI can help, how our programs can help your business grow. And with Nova Scotia, let's all grow collectively. So just give me a second to share my screen and put up my presentation. If there are any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box, and we'll take those questions at the end of our presentation. Just give me a second. So I said that, are you overlooking, or are you aware of all the talent pools that exist in Nova Scotia? So yes, we all know that we would all like to have experienced employees. We would like to have somebody who has a Canadian education background. But I feel that there are two groups of employees that are sometimes overlooked. A are our recent graduates, including our international students. Sometimes we've heard from employers that there's a cost of training, onboarding the new employees. So I would rather have somebody more experienced for the job. And B, do we hesitate in offering a job to somebody who's new to the province? How open are we to hire a newcomer? So those are two talent pools that I want to talk about: the new immigrants, the newcomers to the province, and our recent graduates. And you would be happy to know that there are programs in place to help you bring on all these people to your teams and see for yourself how much value these new employees can bring to your team. So before I start with my presentation, I just want to tell you a little bit about my own background. I'm a new immigrant from India. I arrived in Nova Scotia in July 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, very, very sure that I was going to Nova Scotia, and it was not a big town like Toronto, and I probably wouldn't get a job because it's the middle of the pandemic. So I was prepared to eat from my savings for the next 6 months. I was completely, fully prepared to eat from the bank for 6 months. But you know what? I was in quarantine for 15 days, and then I had a job within next 2 days through one of LSI's program. I will tell you about that program a little later, but one of the wage subsidy programs in LSI helped an employer offer me a full-time permanent job in my own field. And look at me. 2 years later, I now have a house of my own in Nova Scotia. I have a job that I love, and I'm well settled. So programs like these, if you know that they exist, if you are willing and open to hire somebody who may not be the first person that comes to your mind, but may have the skill set that you're looking for, may have the education that you're looking for, then there is support available. So let's talk about what kind of support is available. I'm going to talk about the hiring supports. So LSI has a couple of wage subsidy programs for hiring post-secondary students for work terms. We have a couple of programs for hiring recent graduates. We have programs for hiring apprentices, and we have programs for hiring unemployed Nova Scotians. So let us learn more about these programs one by one and see, which one works for us let's learn about them one by one. So the first program that I want to talk about is the Co-op Education Incentive. Co-op Education Incentive is a wage subsidy which is offered to employers when they hire a meaningful work position to a co-op student for a 12 to 16 week term. So as you all know, a lot of educational programs, post-secondary programs in Nova Scotia have a co-op credit. These co-op terms are 3 times in a year: winter, summer, and fall. And for all these terms, you can hire a co-op student for a project or for a short-term, temporary need in your organization. And hiring them is made easy through the co-op education incentive. So as long as you are able to pay $15 an hour wage to the student, we will reimburse $7.50 an hour or $9 an hour if you hire somebody who's underrepresented in the work group. So this means you practically get a student at half the salary that you're paying. So it's almost of a 50% or more of a wage subsidy for a eager, ready to work co-op student who will bring so much value to your organization. So which kind of employers can apply for this funding? This program is for almost all employees in Nova Scotia other than the government. So we cannot use the co-op education incentive, but if you are in the private sector, if you are a government funded organization, non-profit organization, municipality, you can hire a student or even more students through the co-op education incentive. As long as the student is enrolled in a co-op program at one of the university or the college programs, the work term has to be for 12 to 16 weeks. And the student must work 32.5 to 40 hours per week. To start the application for the co-op education incentive, there are 2 things you have to keep in mind. First thing is that you have to plan a whole semester in advance to start the process for co-op education incentive. So for example, if you want to apply for the summer term, then you have to apply in winter. So if you are hiring for summer of 2023, the applications will now open on December 15th, and you will have 1 month to apply for the funding. We'll approve your application and you can hire your student before the summer. The second thing to keep in mind is that you have to get the first step to apply for co-op education incentive is to get the job approved and endorsed by a co-op coordinator. So if you go to the program website, if you go to novascotia.ca/co-op education incentive, if you go to our website, you will find a list of all the co-op coordinators across Nova Scotia. You can contact the co-op coordinator in your field and they will endorse your job. And from there on, you can apply for the funding, get approved, and hire your students. So that is the first program. The next program is especially for our nonprofits. So our nonprofits need all the help that they can get. It's a great wage subsidy program to hire students for meaningful positions in the summer. So offer a quality summer job to a post-secondary student for a term of 8 to 14 weeks, and we will reimburse up to $9.10 per hour or $10.10 per hour if the student belongs to a designated diversity group. And you have to pay the student at least the minimum wage. So this again is a very, very popular program. You get a student at practically $3 or $4 an hour for the summer, and it also helps our students stay in their community and work for a nonprofit which aligns with their interests, their field of study. So the student eligibility is that the student must be entering full-time studies in the fall following the summer work term. So if you hire somebody who's already accepted into a university or college, has just finished high school, you are eligible to hire that person. If you hire a post-secondary student who's already in their second year or third year and will be going on to the next year in fall, you can hire that person also. The only thing is that the student has to be a permanent resident of Nova Scotia or should have lived in Nova Scotia at least 6 months prior to the work term. The application period for the skill incentive will now open on December 15th. Again, same time as co-op education incentive, but you have 1.5 months to apply for this funding. And once you are approved for the funding, we will also post your job in our job catalog on our website. And students will be able to discover your job, will be able to see the job posting and apply for it. So another additional advantage. Now we come to one of our most popular programs. You may have heard about it already. It's called the Graduate to Opportunity Program. It's a 2-year wage subsidy, an incentive to employers to hire and help us retain well-educated recent graduates in Nova Scotia. Many of you may be aware of that part of history where our students, our youth used to study in Nova Scotia. And upon graduation, they used to leave the province in search of good, well-paying jobs in their field to other parts of the country or even to other parts of the world. Very recently, we've seen a change thanks to our employers in Nova Scotia who've been hiring our students, and we want to keep this momentum. We would like to keep our students in Nova Scotia, and to do that, the first and the most important thing is to offer them a meaningful, well-paying job. And helping our employers do that is Graduate to Opportunity. The program has already approved more than 2,500 jobs in Nova Scotia, and more than 1,200 employers are approved for the funding. So I don't know whether you've applied for it yet or not, but if you haven't, you should definitely check it out. So it's a 2-year wage subsidy in which we reimburse up to 35% of the first year salary of a recent graduate and 12.5% in the second year. So as long as you are a small business with less than 100 employees, a startup, nonprofit, charity, or a social enterprise, you are eligible to apply for GTO. The student that you can hire, the recent graduate that you can hire, the only thing is that that person must have graduated within the last 1 year. So as long as you are hiring somebody who's graduated from a degree or a diploma program in last 1 year, he or she is eligible to be hired under GTO. You can hire an international student on a work permit. You can hire a student from a diploma program, degree program. You can hire a student from another part of the world. But as long as they are legally eligible to work in Nova Scotia in Canada, and they have graduated within last 12 months, you are eligible to apply for GTO funding for that. The job requirement is that it should be a new permanent full-time position in Nova Scotia that pays a minimum of $35,000 annually. GTO is one of our most popular programs. And the only thing that I want to say about GTO is that GTO is like a dessert. When you have one bite, you literally cannot stop. You have to go back for more. So try to apply, and you might just get a very passionate, malleable young person on your team who would be your succession plan, who would bring the correct skill set, the latest education, most updated skills, the digital skills any business needs today, and maybe staying with your organization for a long, long time. So do check out Graduate to Opportunity. The next program that I want to talk to you about is Innovate to Opportunity. So Innovate to Opportunity and Graduate to Opportunity are similar programs because they are for recent graduates, but Innovate to Opportunity is bigger. It's a 3-year wage subsidy offered to small to medium enterprises who hire recent master's or PhD level students, recent graduates, for jobs focused on innovation and making the business ready to begin or to expand their export potential. So if you're looking to expand your business outside of Nova Scotia, if you have a research program, if you have research on your mind, if you are looking to expand into another part of the world, then this program is for you. So the job must be a new permanent full-time position in your organization, which pays a minimum of $60,000 a year. And the job must contain a combination of activities which will make your business more innovative and ready for exports. So the job should focus on applied research, product or service development, or market analysis, or improvement of your product quality. So you have to hire a recent master's or a PhD graduate who's graduated within last 1 year. And it should be a permanent full-time job that pays a minimum of $60,000 a year. So what kind of wage subsidy are we talking about? There are two streams in Innovate to Opportunity. First one is an innovation stream, and the second one is an advanced innovation stream. The maximum wage subsidy that you get in the first year is up to 60%. Now, these two streams depend on the amount of time your graduate employee will be spending on making your business more innovative. So if the new employee will be spending approximately 25 to 30% of their time on making your business more innovative, I will say apply for innovation stream. If your new employee will be spending most of their time on product analysis, on making your business more innovative or expanding your business into exports, then apply for the advanced innovation stream. The only thing to keep in mind is that for GTO, application process is literally 5 to 10 minutes. We approve applications in literally 5 days. So it is very, very easy to apply for GTO, and it is more and more employers get approved for GTO. But in comparison to GTO, ITO is a bigger pot of money. It's a bigger funding. So for ITO, you have to submit, the application is a little more lengthy. You have to submit an innovation plan with the application in which you have to detail and write down what innovation related activities the graduate will be working upon, what percentage of their time will they be spending on that activity, and clearly outline your plan for the next 3 years. And based on your application, a panel will assess the application and approve you. You will hear back from us within 2 to 3 weeks. So when I talk about ITO and GTO, I always think about the story of Goldilocks. So GTO is like the perfect bed of the baby bear, where it's neither too hot nor too cold, or the bed is neither too hard nor too soft. But ITO is like the Papa Bear's bed. Little hard, little too big, but then it's a king bed. So both the programs, depending on your organization needs, are wonderful programs. So again, I'll say explore them. Now, the third program, I told you that I came to Nova Scotia and I got my first job within 2 days. It was with the help of this great program called START. Now, START is a financial incentive to hire somebody who's unemployed currently and is ready to work in Nova Scotia. So START gives you funding in 3 ways. A, it can be a wage incentive. B, it can be funding to offset training costs and onboarding costs. And 3, it can also be in form of funding for equipment to bring on a new employee. So START funding is basically helps you hire somebody who's facing a barrier because of one of these reasons. They don't have Canadian education or Canadian work experience. They have not been in the workforce recently, or they maybe have a person with disability. So START is a great program. To apply for START, you can apply through like the other programs, through the ENS, through the LAMPS. But START funding typically covers the first 6 months of an employee's salary, and the contributions can go up to $25,000. So it's a great, great funding. START is providing financial assistance to hire somebody who's eligible to work in Nova Scotia and is ready to work. The funding. Now, I said it's maximum of up to $25,000. So how do we decide how much funding we will give to you? The funding is determined on case-by-case basis. It's based on the type of employment you're offering. Is it in the field of the employee? Is it meaningful? What kind of salary are you offering? What is the employee skill level? And for how long do you plan to keep that employee? We would love to support jobs which are more sustainable, which are long-term. And is the position based in a sector which is a priority sector in Nova Scotia? Now, employer eligibility is that as long as you are a small or medium business, or you're a nonprofit or a social enterprise, and you have a physical office in Nova Scotia, you are eligible to apply for START. For the job seekers to be eligible, you can hire somebody who's unemployed currently, and even international students and Canadian citizens, as long as they're unemployed. And once you are approved, you have to recruit for the role. And Nova Scotia Work Centers can support you in doing that. We'll talk about Nova Scotia Work Centers a little later on again. Now, we've talked about 5 wage incentives. We've talked about co-op education incentive. We've talked about student summer skill incentive. We've talked about GTO, ITO, and START. All these 5 programs, it is very, very easy to apply for them because the first few steps for these programs are the same. The very first step to apply for any of these wage subsidies is, and even for Vanessa's program. So when you talk about WIPC or WEI or Skills Online NS, Skills Online NS is online. So when you want to apply for these programs, you have to, first step is to register your business on LAMPS. Now, LAMPS is an online application portal system. It is very easy to register on it. Once you register, you will receive a user ID and you can make your own password. And then you can log into LAMPS and apply for any of the provincial programs. So just go to the drop-down list from the provincial programs, select the program you want to apply for, fill the form and submit, and you are ready to go. That's how easy it is. The only other 2 things I will say is that it is usually the first step. It is the first inertia of making your profile on LAMPS that seems to be the most difficult. Once you are into LAMPS, it becomes very, very easy. Please do not get discouraged or do not think that I'm too busy for this. This is a very easy step and we can help you navigate it. You can connect with me and I can walk you through this process step by step, help you at any step that you get stuck at, and help you create your profile on LAMPS. And from thereafter, you can apply for any of the funding programs, whether it's training, it's hiring, and it'll just seem like a piece of cake to you. The other thing is, if you lose my contact information or if you forget all about me, then you can just contact any of the Nova Scotia work centers near you, and they will be able to help you register on LAMPS, get you started. And the Nova Scotia work centers are full of employees who know about all the programs that LSI has and who can help you register on LAMPS and who can help you identify which program works best for you. So A, either remember me, or B, connect with the Nova Scotia Work Center and we will try to help you identify which program works the best for you. I'm not done yet. The next great program that I'm going to talk about is the Apprenticeship Start program. Now, Apprenticeship Start program is an incentive to encourage employers who hire apprentices to employ apprentices and to help them get their training. So just to encourage you to bring an apprentice onto your team and to train them, support them as they complete their levels. The funding for this goes up to $30,000. So at every step, for example, when you sign an apprenticeship agreement, you receive up to $5,000 as an incentive. Then once your apprentice completes the level 1, there's another funding that you receive. Level 2, you get the next funding. Level 3, the next funding, like this. So there's an extra incentive in this. So typically the funding is $25,000, but if you hire somebody from an underrepresented group, then the funding goes up to $30,000 per apprentice. So all small to medium businesses, nonprofits, and social enterprises are again eligible for this program. So if you are a business which is headquartered elsewhere and not in Nova Scotia, but you have a physical office in Nova Scotia, you can still apply for this program. The next program that I want to talk about is the Job Creation Partnership. Now, the Job Creation Partnership is a program which funds and supports projects which will provide LMDA, Labor Market Development Agreement eligible participants with meaningful work experiences. The maximum duration of an agreement with a sponsor or a participant through this program is 52 consecutive weeks. So businesses, organizations, municipalities, bands and tribal councils, public health and educational institutions can apply for this funding. The program is designed in a way to support projects that will create jobs, to provide unemployed, insured participants with opportunities to gain meaningful work experiences. The project activities should benefit both the community as well as the participant. The only thing being that unlike other programs, the project in this case should have a fixed beginning, start, and a finish date. So that's the only thing difference in this program. So to start a job creation partnership program, you should connect with an ENS center, with a Nova Scotia Work Center, and they will help you apply for it. So I and Vanessa both have given you a lot of information, and I don't know whether you are still with us or I've lost you somewhere, but I will just say that all our resources, all the programs that LSI has are on our Grow Your Business website. So as long as you remember novascotia.ca/grow your business, you can just go to our website. It's a landing page with all our programs. You can click on any program, find out more about it, and then get in touch with the required staff, and we'll help you navigate these support programs. So A, visit the Grow Your Business website. B, connect with me. My name is not difficult to remember, Rohini Mangla. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can remember my email address. I'll drop it into the chat box. So connect with me. I can help you identify which program will work best for you. I can help you navigate setting up your profile on LAMPS, applying for the funding. B, if you forget about me, which I hope you don't, then please keep in mind that you can always go visit a Nova Scotia Work Center. Just Google Nova Scotia Work Center near me, go visit them. All the employment engagement specialists at the Nova Scotia Work Centers are great resource persons. They can help you post your jobs, they can help you hire, they can help you advertise your jobs, they can help you find the right employees. So just sort of, explore and see, what works better for you. So that's all from my side, and we are ready for questions, whatever you might have for us. So just bring them on.
Thank you so much, Vanessa and Rohini. It's such an informative presentation. So folks, if you have any questions, please pop them into the chat box. Just to let folks kind of let that digest a bit. I do have a few questions of my own if you folks wouldn't mind me stealing the first spot. And so Rohini, the first question I have is both of you just talked about how the training and funding available for small and medium-sized enterprises, and so I'm just wondering if you can define how LSI describes small to medium-sized businesses. Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 15? Yes, please.
So for our programs, a small business is a business which has less than 100 employees, and a medium business is a business with less than 500 employees. So I hope, Vanessa, is that true for you as well? So 100 employees for small business, 500 employees, less than 500 employees for small businesses, for medium businesses.
And I'll just add, because there's sort of a standard sort of national, and I think that's what Judith alluded to, Rohini. Right now in our WIPSI guidelines, we have 2 tiers of funding, and we're also considering that because, once again, as I said, most of the businesses within Nova Scotia are small. So generally speaking, eligible businesses will get up to $10,000, and then 50% beyond that. For larger businesses, which is, again, a little bit differently defined within WIPSI, but we're looking at that. It would be just 50% of the training costs.
Makes sense. Thank you both. I do have a question that just rolled in. Is this funding available for a new startup venture, which is to be launched in the coming months?
Okay. Have you already registered on the joint stock registry? So that would be my first question. So if you are in the planning stages, of setting up your business, if your work is already in pipeline, then I would encourage you to connect with the Employment Nova Scotia Work Centers. They can guide you at which stage you can apply for the funding. So that's the first step that I will recommend. Once you're registered and once you're ready to launch your operations, you can apply for the funding, at least for the hiring supports. In my case, apply for the hiring supports and get your approvals in place. So you always have a time period to hire before so suppose you get approved today, you have 90 days to hire the graduate. For example, we talk about graduate to opportunity. So you have 90 days to hire. So it's okay to pre-plan, to apply in advance, but not like if I'm planning to hire 1 year later on. So it wouldn't be advisable to apply now. So when you are ready to hire, when you are in the, when you're thinking about when I'm going to hire, so if it's in near future, you can apply in advance and get approved.
And I'll just add to that from the training perspective, for WIPC is more intended for established businesses. So the businesses have to be revenue generating under our current guidelines. For the Workplace Education Initiative and Skills Online NS, training supports are for any employee in Nova Scotia. So a startup can definitely participate in our training programs. And same with Skills Online NS. So if you're looking to enhance your business skills, there's no limitations there.
Thank you both for that. Do employers face any consequences if the student you have planned, if the student that you hired through the GTO planned on being in school, or sorry, not in the GTO, in the summer skills incentive, planned on being in school in the fall but didn't follow through? Are there any consequences for the employer when in a situation like that may arise?
See, if a student has been accepted by a university or college and has a proof of acceptance from a university or college, and you share that with us with the student information form, then there shouldn't be a repercussion on the employer, but it depends on case-by-case basis. When you apply for any of our programs, you are generally in touch with an agreement manager who manages your agreement and who looks at each document and will be the first one to guide you. So in case every situation is unique, so I think the decision will be made by the agreement manager, but if there is a unique circumstance where the student does not go back to college, takes a gap year or something, I think that agreement managers would be the first one to advise you on that.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you, Rohini. And that is all for the Q&A section. If folks have any last minute dire questions, please feel free to throw them in while I do my closing remarks. So I just want to thank everyone again, especially Rohini and Vanessa, for sharing all of this information. We're going to wrap it up here if there are no more questions. So one final, because I know it was a lot of information, so I want to give folks a final chance to put those in. No, okay. So yeah, again, thank you for everyone for attending today. We have a few more webinars going on this week that you may be of interest in. As you know, as I mentioned earlier, it is Small Business Week this week, and so we're hosting a second. We're actually hosting our second annual Small Business Big Growth Summit next Friday, next Thursday, October 27th at Pier 21. And so we still have tickets available online if you're of interest. It's one of my favorite chamber conferences that we host. And we have more webinars coming up this week as well. And so we have one this afternoon taking place at 12 p.m. with Business Development Bank of Canada. And it's going to be, the topic on that is going to be new technologies that can help your business. So that's going to be a really exciting one. And we have another one in which our president and CEO, Pat Sullivan, is hosting this Thursday at 12 p.m. as well. And that's going to be a conversation with Pierre Claro about succeeding in today's economy. So almost like a fireside chat, super engaging. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. Head to halifaxchamber.com/events to register for these. The webinars are free of charge for members and non-members. So be sure to take advantage of those. Again, happy Small Business Week. And this webinar has been recorded. So maybe you have a colleague or a friend who couldn't make it. The webinar should be up on our website by the end of the week. So you'll be able to share that around or give it a rewatch if you miss anything. So Other than that, again, thank you, Rohini and Vanessa, for sharing all this information today. It was super valuable. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your days. And thanks again for everyone for coming on. And be sure to go out and support a small business this week. It's Small Business Week, and many businesses definitely need it, especially the small and medium-sized ones. So without further ado, I'll let folks get on with the rest of their day. And I hope to see you at the next webinar today at 12. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh, for organizing this. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much, Rohini.